The most commonly reported experience of a healing episode involving a humanoid alien usually occurs with the witness waking up in their bedroom at night to see one or more strange figures standing by. The usually terrifying healing will then take place, or the person will be somehow transferred to a more clinical setting inside the extraterrestrial's craft. However, astonishingly, there are also on record multiple reports of alien doctors somehow entering a hospital patient's room and performing the healing procedure within the very hospital. Here we continue our Friend or Foe series by documenting some of those strange in-hospital cases. Lucky sighting. An in-hospital alien healing that took place in 1966 has been attributed to the patient's advanced work in electronics. As we've seen in earlier videos, aliens often help humans whom they believe help other humans. This account was uncovered by UFO researcher Paula Johnson. A precursor to the incident took place on Easter weekend 4 years prior in 1962, when electronics specialist Fred White went fishing near Durham in England. While he was fishing, he observed close up a metallic craft with portholes. Fred later reported that he could clearly see a human-like figure inside the craft, and that after about 5 minutes the UFO departed the area. For some reason, Fred definitively linked this sighting to an astonishing encounter 4 years later, in September 1966. It was at this time that Fred was hospitalised when he was experiencing severe chest pains, which were diagnosed as related to a collapsed lung. Fred had no idea what was wrong with him and felt dismayed and concerned when X-rays soon revealed that he had a large hole in one lung. While an inpatient in the hospital, Fred was visited by a man whom he assumed at first was just another member of the medical team. However, this doctor had several strange characteristics. He spoke with a peculiar accent, and when he entered Fred's room, he immediately placed his arm over him as if examining him. Fred also noticed that the man was wearing an unusual kind of watch, which he said glowed like no other timepiece he had ever seen. He says that the two of them started to discuss Fred's symptoms. Then, strangely, the man digressed to express interest in Fred's work in electronics. After several minutes, the quirky doctor left, and immediately after his departure, Fred reported that he felt better and could breathe without pain. The other doctors gathered around and decided to run more tests, which included more X-rays. To their surprise, no hole could be detected in Fred's lung, and he was given a clean bill of health. One of the astonished medicos told him that his lung was now completely inflated and that the hole they had observed in there was healed. He said that he and his colleagues had never before seen anything like his miraculous recovery. Fred White remained convinced that the man or humanoid who attended to him in hospital cured his illness, and also suspects he was the same being he saw inside the UFO while fishing 4 years earlier. Mantid surgeons. The following gruelling account was anonymously reported to UFO researchers in British Columbia in Canada. A woman going by the name of Andrea, not her real name, reported that in 2008 her best friend had been brutally attacked and left to perish alone. She had barely survived the incident, where she had lost consciousness and suffered multiple head injuries. When Andrea visited her at the hospital, she was unrecognisable, her lovely face swollen to the size of a basketball. Andrea had been close to her friend for over 40 years, the pair having grown up together, and was devastated that she now lay in a hospital bed in a drug-induced coma. Part of her friend's skull had been removed to reduce pressure from inflammation. Due to the delicacy of her condition, Andrea was told by the doctors not to touch her friend, and so she would stand by her bed and meditate on healing her, something that she already had some experience in doing. However, her friend's condition did not seem to improve, and Andrea began to feel despair and helplessness. She finally reached a point of panic where she felt a sense of urgency and that something had to be done quickly to save the woman. Andrea reported that it was at that moment that two praying mantis-type creatures appeared in the hospital room. Suddenly, the two beings appeared next to her friend, seeming to push Andrea aside, and started to work on the patient like skilled surgeons. She said that they stood to the left of her friend, standing together and working furiously on her. Andrea had no idea who they were or what they were doing. She was just aware that they looked like praying mantises. She added to her statement, "Never in a million years could I make this up." She had no idea that other witnesses had ever reported similar mantid-type extraterrestrials. She focused on her friend, watching as the mantids sliced her head perfectly open and busily began removing pieces of bone, rock or whatever from her brain. The two alien praying mantises worked quickly without speaking one word. At this point, Andrea remembers blacking out and then nothing more about the incident. When she told her friends what she had seen, they informed her that others had also reported similar mantid-type beings, which she later confirmed on searching the internet. She hoped that following the ET's visit, her friend would be completely cured, but sadly she only survived for another 2 weeks. Andrea felt it remarkable that her friend survived for any length of time with her injuries and will never forget the encounter, which she swears is 100% the truth. It also illustrates that despite their advanced healing technology, even the ETs are not perfect and unable to cure all injuries. Light therapy. Russian researcher Sergei Balantsev reported on this strange ET doctor encounter. It took place on the evening of April 18, 1989, when a woman who was terminally ill with heart disease was lying in her hospital room in Krasnoperekopsk in Crimea in Ukraine. She later related that a strong wind entered and disturbed her room, after which a dazzling white light appeared. This was followed by the appearance of a man dressed in white, an apparent humanoid whose eyes radiated light. The patient asked the man where he was from, and he replied, "The 10th dimension." The being told the woman that she would soon be able to walk again, and then he reportedly disappeared. The following day, other surrounding witnesses actually observed unexplained red and white lights moving slowly over the body of the woman. They said that they then heard a loud voice instructing her to get up and leave. The woman arose from her bed and left the hospital, having been apparently cured. The presence of outside witnesses to ET healings is very rare, so that this incident is a unique example of a healing that was observed by people around the patient. Life-saving abduction. The following mystifying account was reported to retired US Air Force Major cum UFO researcher George Filer, who is now a MUFON director. The events around this person's account occurred during the 1990s, wherein a woman named Joni Ferris believes that her contact experience saved her life. She had been in hospital battling pneumonia for 6 weeks, and the medical treatment being provided was simply not working. She was aware that the specialists were trying multiple forms of antibiotics and penicillin one after another on her without any success. She then had the astounding experience of being taken up through the ceiling and then blacking out. When she was returned and came to, she found herself back in her hospital bed and that her fever had broken and the pneumonia was gone. According to the record of Joni's account, she had apparently felt compelled to come forward and report her experience after reading a quote from researcher Jacques Vallée, who had described procedures done on humans by ETs as sadistic. She disagreed with his characterization and now believes that there are both positive and negative effects of alien abduction. While there are many accounts of humans being hurt by their abduction experience, as someone who greatly benefited from her encounter, she believes they are no more sadistic than an emergency medical team performing a life-saving operation.